Visit No One Likes Us Clothing for all your Millwall clobber. www.noonelikes.us.co.uk.
Hi, I'm Gary Rowett and you're listening to the world famous Achtung Millwall.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. You are listening to the number one Millwall podcast. Welcome to the den for the visit, of course, of Jed Wallace's West Bromwich Albion side this afternoon, this championship fixture. The Lions take the field on the back of a blistering, a scorching home win over Watford in midweek. Today's team does see a couple of changes from that excellent side. I can only presume injuries are playing their part. Your Lions this afternoon, dear listeners: Jules Long and goal, back line Scott Malone, Jake Cooper, Sean Hutchinson, Danny Mack, midfield Billy Mitch, I think Shackleton in the two. In front of them, the three, so I'm going to presume Callum Stiles, Ian Fleming and Andreas Vogel-Sammer up front, of course. Tom Bradshaw, hat-trick hero, Tom Bradshaw. Blistering performance, as I say. We really took the game to Watford. Some of the best football that I've seen at our Millwall side, really since the Forest away game in March 2020, just before the onset of the pandemic. So we want to see another reproduction of that, and a good crowd in the den this afternoon. The den looks pretty full. Block 1 is pretty full. A refined voice, as you can detect. Bit of stick for Jed warming up. I understand he looked a little bit emotional coming off the West Bromwich Albion team coach. My sources tell me. But we'll see how he performs this afternoon. I did read something online to say that he tries to work with negativity in his head to induce him to play better. The two teams are lining up. Millwall will be attacking the away end of the first half, and according to the dictums of the Venerable Bede and the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, West Bromwich Albion wearing red shirts, blue shorts, the Lions of course, in their familiar dark blue and white. Away we go. Lions opened up that pace against Watford in midweek. Let's hope for something very similar this afternoon. They weren't afraid of the long direct ball. Falls already to Ian Fleming. Billy Mitch on the outside of the West Bromwich D. He's had a shot. That's just gone inches wide. Took a deflection. Well, 17 seconds on the clock. Left-sided corner from Millwall. There's a blistering start for your listeners. Scott Malone's going to take it. It's still inside the first minute, dear listeners. Left-sided corner, as I've said. It's swung in and away. It's almost on the head of Sean Hutchinson. That's Callum Stiles. Didn't quite catch it. It's gone for a goal kick. Good start, Millwall, though. First minute, a shot on goal and a corner. Apparently the Lions have the best set-piece record of any championship club. 12 goals from set pieces. Gary Rowett, speaking about that, says he doesn't get involved very much in the set pieces. He leaves that all to Adam Barrett, or Ad as he calls him, with Marshy, which is Andy Marshall, and Robbo, for Paul Robinson. They do all the work, he says. They work tirelessly the whole week. It's certainly paid off, I've got to say. I know we've had a few pops at the Millwall coaching staff for their defensive background. But certainly set piece wise, we've looked very dangerous, and that statistic tells everything you want to know. 12 goals from set pieces this season. Each of the goals against Watford, of course, coming from dead ball situations. Long ball out of defence. I've got a load of kids all sat around me. It's like the junior Lions sat around me, listeners. 1 minute I'm sitting in a clear blue seated block all to myself to waffle away at my leisure. And I've got a load of kids looking at me, thinking I'm quite the eccentric. Long ball forwards. This Callum Stiles chasing that down. This is now Fleming on the second ball, just inside. Couldn't quite get it through to Stiles. 2 minutes 20 on the clock. Claustrophobic feeling up here, listeners, I can tell you. This is what I do for you. Jed got the ball, as you can tell. It's a bit like being with your ex-girlfriend, isn't it? You know, when seeing them move on to somebody else, that kind of feeling. At the moment, the new bloke she's moved in with isn't doing very well for himself. We're doing better, but that doesn't bother the cognoscenti of the den, dear listeners, does it? They want to get their stick in. West Brom passing the ball around willy-nilly without any great effect in their own half. Back and forwards, ticking towards the 10th minute. It's been a pretty good start by Millwall. Bright start, the brighter of the two. West Brom passing at the moment as we tick past 10 minutes. Ball forwards from Scott McLean, almost finds Vogel. Sammer couldn't quite, barely able to touch it, but a little bit more, another inch, and that would have been under his control. Right straight down the middle, 14 and a half minutes. Searching for his first goal for the club, of course. Another player mentioned online, praise. I think he's a really good player personally, Vogel Sammer. Nice kind of link-up, forward, attacking minded player, intelligent as well. I'll tell you what, for a shortish guy, Bradshaw troubles people in the air. He's a bit like Tim Cahill, not the biggest of blokes, but somehow has an ability to cause issues. That's been put up for a bit poorly by the 5 for a left-sided Millwall corner. Under no real pressure as well. He's just headed it gently behind for a left-sided corner. West Brom so far, 17 minutes, not looking to show anything at all going forwards. Hopes that's not famous last words. Some Bradshaw battling in there, that's the uproar you can hear, but so far they've not shown much. A lot of passing around in their own half. Managerless at the moment, of course, since the sacking of Steve Bruce. Gary Rowett was linked with him, wasn't he? In the press. Gentleman of the press. A sense that Gary Rowett's agent links him with every job that's going. It's again West Brom passing the ball around inside their own half. A little bit of hint of danger there. There's Scott Malone trying to clean up. He lets it get away from him. This is Jed Wallace now on the right side. 19, come towards 20 minutes. Right side cross in. That's 1-0. Ball in from Wallace, who celebrates down in front of the Coldblow Lane end. Wise. Oh dear. Slammed in from the right-sided cross. It kind of deflected in as the striker came in just outside the penalty area, penalty spot. Giving it the old fist pump. Ooh. Villain of the piece now. That's a decision. There we are, 20 minutes in. Lions 1 behind. Well, I think everyone's set their stall out there, listeners, haven't they? From 21 minutes, come towards the quarter mark, halfway through the first half. Lions unlucky. That was the first real attack with any intent. It was, of course, Jed Wallace with the assist, as anyone with any knowledge of Millwall over the last 50 years would have predicted. Game's got an edge to it now, listeners, with that goal. It was pantomime before, but it feels a bit like a little bit more raw, a little bit more Millwall now. This is just on the edge of the West Brom penalty area. They've got bodies back. Millwall trying to pass the ball around. That's going to get away from Vogel Sammer, unfortunately. 21 minutes. That may one of the kids have farted here, dear listeners. Jesus Christ Almighty! I don't know what they feed these kids on. Send that kid out to the Ukraine. They could use him on the front line out there against the Russians. Well, it wasn't me. I thought it was you.
No, it's you. It's you.
I'm getting accused, falsely accused. 30 minutes. Lions behind. A false accusation of farting from the kids. And Lions just needing to find something extra. The game does have a tinderbox quality to it. Malone does well there. Denies Wallace. Of dropping the friendly sobriquet of Jed now. Left-sided free kick. On 37 minutes now. Vogel Sammer to take then. In it comes. Down to the Ramsey Styles. Again erupts. That's what I wanted, dear listeners. Callum Styles. Nicely finished. Ball in from the left, it fell nodded down. I think it was off a West Brom defender, I think. It fell to Callum Styles. They seemed to have time to slot it away into the roof of the net. Let's have a quick look. Can't quite see the whole screen. We'll have to watch it on YouTube, listeners. You will have done by the time you get to listen to this podcast. 1-1. I think that's his first goal for Millwall, Callum Styles. West stands on its feet, East stands on its feet, the Colborne Lane ends on its feet. It's a Millwall atmosphere, listeners. You know what I mean as well, don't you? Here comes Shackleton. Takes his man on, gets past him, nicely done. This is Scott Malone. No, Billy Mitch tries to put the ball inside. No one there, unfortunately. A bit of pressure now. Bradshaw's in. This is a proper Millwall atmosphere. This is cut and thrust, listeners. That's going to go all the way back to the goalkeeper. 38, 39 minutes. Pace has increased. Danny Mack now. Billy Mitch. Midfield into the West Brom half. Styles getting pulled back. Intense game. Intense atmosphere. There'll be a free kick Millwall. Just right of centre inside the West Brom half. The referee's marching out of the solemn air of a man going to a funeral. Has he been to, someone said something, someone chaperoned something, I don't know. Anyway, here we are again. Hutchinson's gone down, clutching his face. The referee's done nothing other than hold play up. The referee too having to calm down. Animated conversations over in the dugout. I don't know, we'll probably find out more after the game what that's all about. Anyway, Scott Malone's with a free kick. Coming towards 41 minutes now. It's been a long time coming. That's in towards Jake Cooper. It's headed away. Looks like the Five took a clout. He's gone on the floor. Looks like they've done him. I approve of that. Jack Charlton famously had a little black book of players he was going to do on the pitch, and I think that Five marked himself out as getting done there, and he did get done. Just thinking back, ex-Millwall players that have scored in front of us, famously Tim Cahill, when he played for Everton, didn't celebrate. Just trying to think of one or two others that didn't celebrate. None come to mind. I do remember Alex Ray scoring for Wolves. I think he went on to Wolves after us, celebrating big time. So you can never tell. You can never tell. Yeah, I mean, both Wallace and Alex Ray, and just these are the two that occurred to me standing here in the stadium with players that gave everything for Millwall, cared, passionate players. And both took time out to celebrate when they came back. Who knows? What's the mindset there? I don't know. I might need to have a think about that one. Here comes the 18 down the right wing. Ball's into the middle. This is cleared off the foot of Jed Wallace by Danny McNamara there, listeners. Last few seconds of the first half. He took a bit of a whack earlier on. Breaking play again. Been a bitty half. We're coming towards the last few seconds once this injury is attended to Sean Hutchinson. Lions will feel themselves sloppy, if I think, to be honest, to concede that goal. That was about the only real chance opportunity that West Brom have carved out. That was a ball in, of course, from the villain of the afternoon, Jed Wallace. Slotted away. Looks like Hutchinson's coming off. Whether that's off or just for the last 2 seconds of the half, I don't know. No, it looks like he's going to come back. That said, Millwall have been the brighter of the two sides overall. It's been a scrappy game in some ways. It's been helter-skelter, it's been intense at times. And to get back into... Oh, for fuck's sake, the kids farted again, listeners. Jesus Christ. Who's doing this? Fucking hell. I can't think. I can't talk, listeners. It'll be half time soon, thankfully. There it is. 1 each at a break.
Achtung, Millwall.
half-time tweets for us listeners as we wait for the two teams to come back out after half-time. Richard Coy says he hasn't seen it back, but those who had seen the free kick awarded that led to the Millwall goal felt it was very generous. Suggestion is that there is minimal contact, if any, on Malone. Well, I don't give a hoot about that one, Richard. CBO 1885 says Jed Wallace very disrespectful of the club that paid his enormous wages for 5 years. Cresswell's come on at half-time. Looks like Sean Hutchinson has left the field, listeners. Half-time substitution. James Gibbons calls for Jed Wallace to be put in the stands by one of our players. So you get the picture. You get the picture, listeners. We're going to be attacking the Coldblow Lane in the second half. As per old Beattie, good old Anglo-Saxon England. Pre-Norman. Away we go. We'll just pin back at the start of the second half slightly, listeners. Coming towards 48 minutes. We haven't really got our own half since kick-off. West Brom, a lot of possession without any real danger so far in the half. Oh, poor ball there by Billy Mitchell. First one of the afternoon by him. Almost gives the ball away in a danger situation there to West Brom. We're just making a little bit of a rod for our own back there by overcomplicating in defence, listeners. Coming towards 53 minutes. Vogelsammer now on the right. Tried to put the ball into the box, but unfortunately deflected. Great tackle, Charlie Cresswell. Gets the ball into the box. Oh, how did Bradshaw miss that? Screamer of a chance, ball in from the right side. I don't know if that was offside. Don't think it was. Absolute sitter of a chance. How he missed that, I don't know. That was right in front of goal. Looks like it was a goal kick. Wouldn't have been. It would have counted. Wow. Looks like Tyler Bury's coming in, which is interesting, listeners. 21's coming out. That's Vogelsammer's coming out. Bury's coming in. Good applause for the German. 57 minutes. That was a real opportunity there for Tom Bradshaw. That was I couldn't quite tell in real time whether that was an offside given, but I think it was a goal kick in the end. Second half of the whole game, I suppose, really has had a bit of a stop-start quality at times. Long breaks for injuries. Hasn't helped the flow of it. Poor work by Danny Mack gives the ball away. This is now West Brom coming down the left side. 65 minutes. The 20 comes inside as Jed Wallace. He takes inside the Mill penalty area. Ball wide into the centre. Great block. Fantastic back heel take there. Tom Bradshaw just couldn't get away from his man there as we broke out ourselves. End-to-end stuff. A little bit of triangular passing. We're trying to find a way through the West Brom defence. It's pretty tightly packed, in fairness to them. And we're trying to pick the lock. If anyone still picks locks, I don't know if locksmiths would actually pick it or just drill it out, listeners. That's all I've ever seen. Drill the lock out rather than pick it. But anyway, you know what I mean, not a figure of speech. Little 1-2, this is Tom Bradshaw puts the ball left. Tyler Bury. What can he do? Will he have a go? He does! Just wide right. Mill starting to turn the pressure up, listeners. Just wide right. Nice opportunity there for Tyler. It's a tight angle from the edge of the penalty area. Come to 67 minutes. Beautiful overhead ball by... Beautiful! Overhead pass by Zian Fleming! Slide away with a plumb by Tyler Bury, 2-1 Millwall! What a goal! Does he get it? Offside! Oh, for fuck's sake! Offside! It deserved the goal. That was a beautiful move. Real sense of deflation after that. That was a really beautiful disallowed goal. Can you have such a thing? The overhead pass from Zian Fleming. You will get a chance to see it, I hope, on the YouTube reel, because it was a thing of beauty to find Tyler Bury. He put it away very well. But offside. This is Billy Mitch. Will he have a go? He will. That's goal kick over the bar. Two more substitutions. Who's this? Honeyman, Bennett. Styles is coming out. Honeyman presumably, and number 10 will be Zian Fleming for Mason Bennett. Afobe works a free kick there. He's being held back, manhandled. That's a second yellow card. Man's off. 5. Done a good job there. He's been manhandled, but he made enough of a theatrical spin that Rudolf Nureyev, the Kirov ballet, would have been proud of there, listeners. That's pulled the 5 out of the game. Number 5 does the lonely trudge of the red card into the tunnel. No, it's going to be Scott Malone. Actually, a little bit. It's about about halfway. Too far for a shot. I think it'll be a chip into the box. There it goes. It is chips into the box. Bouncing around. It's hoofed clear by Wallace. You cursed his name. Ticking towards the 86th minute, listeners. I still think the game is there to be won if Millwall can find something. Well, 2 tough games for Millwall in 5 days. This one's still in the balance, 87 minutes, so I won't write it off too early. But at the moment, a win and a draw probably would have been, would have taken that before both the Watford game and this game kicked off. But this is still there for the taking, so I'm going to stop prattling, because this is Scott Malone now nudging into the West Brom half. Bury gets clattered, could be a free kick on the left side. Another chance to get it in deep and long. Get the big boys forward, Cresswell and Cooper going forwards. Cooper falls to Cooper. This is Afobe. He's got just behind Bury, unfortunately, on the left side. He had to turn away, but we do keep possession. This is Malone again. Mason Bennett. Dispossessed, unfortunately. And West Brom will break, but Danny Mack will clean up the mess nicely. Goalkeeper taking his time. That's the whistles you can hear. Long ball forward, seeking out Afobe. His deft header finds Mason Bennett. What can he do? He's got Bury on his left side. Falls to Bury. Yes! 2-1 Millwall! Tyler Bury! 89 minutes! Fantastic little deft touch inside from Mason Bennett. Finds Tyler Bury, who slots away with a plum again. 2-1 the Lions. The den erupts. You can tell the players wanted that one, listeners. The way they're celebrating over there on the East End, they wanted that. It's Millwall's turn to take their time coming back to reform, the very thing I always moan about. But I'm going to be a hypocrite and not complain, listeners. No more Jed, just Wallace now. Den is alive, listeners. You can hear it. It is alive. Referee's looking at his watch. I'm going to guess at 5 minutes. I didn't catch it when the man, Mr. Byford said it, listeners. We love a drama down here, listeners. Don't we love a drama? It's like one of those Indian or Brazilian or Mexican telenovelas. Only we call it Millwall. That's going to go all the way back to the goalkeeper. There it is. There it is. 2-1, the Den wanted that, the players wanted it, and you got it, listeners! Fantastic win. Real spine in this side, listeners, after that great, excellent midweek win. To follow it up with a performance like that is top dollar. Man of the match, very hard to choose. I'm going to go with Billy Mitch. Wallace shaking a few hands in the middle. He's very much the villain of the half, listeners. West Brom dejectedly leaving the pitch. Millwall celebrating with the old status quo, mate. There we go.
Hello?
Nick, Tony Mundy here.
before I talk about Millwall, I'll get Jed Wallace out of the way. What an utter prick. He thought he was being clever, giving it to the crowd and playing it up when they scored, and all he did was fire us up, really. And I don't know if anyone else noticed, but I think he wasn't expecting what happened to him, the abuse after he done that, because he actually shit himself. He went into his shell after that. Not long after he was clean through with Fleming's bad back pass. He hesitated and Long got off the line, and about 2 minutes later they put a ball into the box and he only had to attack it to score, and he stood off of it and Danny Mack cleared it. I just thought he went into his shell after that. But yeah, let's see about the way he's fucked now in Millwall. I don't give a fuck about him anymore. I was prepared to clap him off today, but he came over. I don't know what he was thinking he was doing at the end, coming over, applauding the stand. Everyone just told him to fuck off, and rightly so. He's done now. Millwall, fucking, do you know what, the passion and the pace and intensity we're playing at the moment is brilliant. And you know what I mean? You can lose games and you say, do you know what, at least we had a go. But we're winning games. Apart from that, the mistake was Malone's. It's a bad trait of his with the 50-50s. I think it was 60-40 in his favour, but he won't put his foot in. Lost it. They've come away and scored. But I will say about him, I thought he was excellent after that. He really grew into the game. In the second half, he was playing most of the half in their area, in their half of the pitch. I just really struggled to pick a man in the match. I'd probably go with Styles just over Danny Mack, but Mitchell played really well. Shackleton played really well. Cooper played really well. Bradshaw ran himself into the ground again. Yeah, was just really, and the subs were perfect timing of the subs. For the last 20 minutes, we had 4 lots of fresh legs on, and we ran them ragged. We absolutely ran them ragged. I mean, it ended up 2-1. We could have probably scored 3 or 4 at the death there. People get on Bury's back. I don't know why. He's only started about 10 games in total, maybe 12 or something in total. I've got people around me getting on his back. He's just a constant threat. You know what I mean? You can see what he was like out there. He took players on a couple of times. He can be look a bit languid and lazy or whatever. But not everyone's going to fly into tackles or whatever like that. And that's not what he is. He's a danger. And obviously he was ultimately the difference at the end there. Yeah, I just thought we were just excellent. I thought it must have been early in the game. I thought this is going to be 0-0 because we were pumping the ball in. And their number 5, the one who eventually got sent off, was really good. He was just clearing up everything. And him getting sent off at 85, I actually said to the bloke next to me, I said, now we need to start pumping the balls in the box. And lo and behold, Afobe flicked it on to Bennett, who was, I've got to say, he was brilliant when he come on. Yeah, and that was it. It was we done it. 4 wins on the spin, and you've got to say we deserved all of them. We should have won it against Rotherham as well. We've got momentum behind us. The players are obviously playing for the manager, despite what others have said at times. They're playing for him. The formations, didn't he say about 6 weeks ago, he said, I'm not sure if I'll get my best team till the end of the season, all that. Well, he's got it now. He's got the formation anyway, and we've got a really good bench that they all just fall into place when we replace players. There's players on the bench that you would have thought would be starting every game at one point. Yeah, I just think it's brilliant. Let's hope we can just keep it up, going up into the World Cup, and have the break then, and then see what happens after that. But at the minute, yeah, it's brilliant, and yeah, I've really enjoyed today. I mean, I enjoyed Wednesday, but enjoyed today as well. And feeling that ground, you could feel it coming. The goal, the crowd was getting louder and louder. You could feel was almost willing the ball in, and yeah, the fucking roof nearly come off, didn't it? Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'll leave it there, Nick. Cheers, mate. See you later.
Mike Hayden here. Another win, up to 5th in the table. I'm getting a nosebleed. Yeah, fantastic result again today against Jed Wallace and a very poor-looking West Bromwich Albion side. You could tell we were struggling with legs a little bit, but also West Brom, especially under Bruce, they've always been known as a side that can, kind of quite a big side, quite a physical side. So it was always going to be a bit challenging playing direct. But I think on the balance of play, we certainly deserved to win. We had the better of the chances. West Brom didn't really challenge us too much. I think they were a little bit lucky to go ahead. That was pretty much the only good thing Jed did all game, was that cross in. And then he obviously fluffed that one-on-one, but enough about him, listeners. I think we played as a unit very, very well. We stuck to our guns. The players look confident. Rowett looks like he knows what he wants to do. And bringing on Bury was a bit of a stroke of genius, to be honest, because they just didn't seem to clock that he likes to cut inside. I mean, he had 2 or 3 shots before then. Obviously, the goal, which was disallowed, which I'd like to see again. I had no idea how that was offside. And they let him do it again at the end. So eventually it came good. But yeah, fantastic performance. We never gave up. We didn't want to draw the game. It would have been easy just to have seen that out and get a point. But I think we could see that West Brom were there for the beating, especially in the second half. I think after we scored, and then the second half they looked quite bereft of confidence, and we capitalised on that. Some brilliant performances again. Very proud of the team. A shame to see Hutchinson limp off, but I thought Cresswell really settled in very nicely straight away, and I think that was really good to see. I was a little bit nervous when he came on. He's got the mistake in him, but he's not played a lot, but I thought he was fantastic today. Let's touch on Jed, because I think I had no intention of booing him today. I think obviously our best player for many years, but he brought it on himself in some respects. He was always going to get some boos, but if he was constantly going at the crowd in that first half, and in the second half you didn't hear a peep out of him. I'm sure their manager said, let's not make it a fucking Jed Wallace show today, and it certainly wasn't, because to be honest, apart from that assist, he barely touched the ball. I wonder if he thinks he's made a mistake, but also he shouldn't burn a bridge, because guaranteed next season he'll come back on loan to Millwall. You just know it will happen. Fantastic run of form. Let's keep it going. Huddersfield away next. If we can carry on the good away form against one of the poorer sides in the league, we'll see where we get to. But who'd have thought where this had come from a few weeks ago? Really enjoying it at the moment. Fantastic atmosphere today. I thought the crowd were brilliant, and we're rolling on. So let's keep it going. This is it's exciting. Let's see where we can get to. Come on, you lines.
Millwall 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. What a fantastic afternoon at the Den. This is what Millwall supporters relish. Absolutely brilliant performance. The first goal from West Bromwich Albion was just, they capitalised on a bit of hesitation, a bit of Scott Malone hesitation, and Jed Wallace set the ball up for John Swift, and it was a kick in the stomach. It was kind of expected, actually. They look a team that can just click, but the important moment was Jed Wallace's disgusting, disrespectful display to the club that took him from Portsmouth and paid his enormous fucking wages for 5 years. I was absolutely disgusted at the display from a conceited, egotistical little individual that he clearly is. He assisted the goal, and he could have just jogged back to his own half, head down, and shook his players' hands, which would have been the correct way to behave. But no, he did a number of Superman poses, began to rile the crowd, and I thought at the time, well, this could go either way here. Fortunately, the Millwall players showed a huge amount more professionalism than the supporters did. We were absolutely apoplectic in the Cold Blow Lane end. Fans saying they were going to wait for him afterwards. And that he deserves that disrespect now, because there's no need to do that. that is shitting on your own doorstep to the nth degree. So, Jed Wallace, you are not a Millwall legend. You are a conceited little prick. Anyway, on to the game. Fantastic performance by Millwall. West Bromwich Albion, have got better players than us. They've got a much more expensive squad. But we played as a team. There were some great individual performances. Again, you know, I thought Callum Styles played ever so well and obviously scored the equaliser. Our back four played well. We could do with a little bit of tightening up down the left. They tried to expose the weakness. Scott Malone can be, as we've said before, a bit unpredictable defending, but I kind of think he makes up for that in his ball delivery. So as long as he's got someone to cover him. The second half, we completely dominated them, and they resorted to cheap fouls. One of the two centre-backs, elbowed Zian Fleming as he was trying to run through before a free kick was taken. I thought the referee was an absolute disgrace today. There could have been 3 or 4 West Bromwich Albion players sent off easily. They were elbowing and pushing and generally just being a team of idiots. And we kept our professionalism. We exposed them for what we are, for what they are, a bunch of overpaid, spoilt charlatans. And the workmanlike display of Millwall came through. From a personal point of view, my favourite player, listeners to the podcast will know that my favourite player is Tyler Bury, and he scored 2 goals, one of which was ruled offside by the muppet of a linesman or whoever it was. And then he did the same again and scored in the same fashion. Absolutely brilliant display by Millwall. I'm a very, very happy supporter. Emotions running very high. But, you know, that was one we had to win. I thought Watford was a fantastic display and the best display I've seen for a long time, you know, at the Den or on the road for that matter. But for me, this afternoon beat that because it was set up for a classic West Bromwich Albion still, especially when they went to 10 men. That worried me. It's hard to play against 10 men. Your shape goes all over the place, but a fantastic performance. Come on, you Lions. We'll see you at Huddersfield.
Wallace, you're up. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you, Nick. It's Angelo, mate. Do you know what, Nick? I was driving down to the ground and I'm thinking, we're going to give abuse to... Should I give some abuse to Jed today? And, mate, once he celebrated that goal the way he did, mate, he deserved every single bit of abuse that he got. Absolutely fantastic day, mate. Atmosphere was great. Yeah, it was brilliant, mate. It's brilliant to get our own back on him there right at the end of that 90th minute winner, mate. Fucking fantastic. Really, really good, mate. I saw Jed like clap the halfway line, the east stand, but he didn't come down the Cobler Lane end where I sit. But fuck him anyway. He's gone, mate. He's history. We're up to 5th place in the table, and we just got to concentrate on ourselves there and see if this run can continue, mate. I was very, very nervous when Hutch went off, but credit where credit's due. I thought Cresswell did very, very well today. He had one little dodgy pass when he first come on, but much better from Cresswell. I loved all the little passes he was doing to feet as well. I thought he done great. Malone, I thought, was very, very good today. Yeah, he dealt with Jed pretty well, and I thought we had a great game. Cooper didn't have as much luck purely because the West Brom defender's a lot more experienced, mate. Danny, fantastic game. Shackleton, not sure. Towards the end of the game, I thought he got better. I was a bit concerned about Styles the first 20 minutes, but you know, he got us the equaliser, so well done for him to get his first Millwall goal. Billy Mitchell, let's just give him the Player of the Season award right now. God forbid he doesn't have any injuries. That guy is fucking outstanding, mate. Just brilliant, mate. If he had pace, my God, he would be unbelievable. But just great, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Fleming tried really hard. Though he had a quietish game, Bradshaw up against experienced defenders, a little bit harder for him. And Bury, he just has to come on as a sub, and he has to keep running at their defenders. When Bury's got his back to the defenders, he's not that great. But you put the ball in front of him and he runs towards them. The guy's very, very exciting, but I would keep him as an impact sub. I would have brought Bennett on earlier. I think if I remember rightly, he had a big part to play in that goal. I think the goal was lucky. I don't know what their goalkeeper was doing, but who cares, to score that winner, stick it up, Jed, was absolutely fantastic, mate. Brilliant. And I hear that George Savile was sick, which is a shame. And let's hope that Hutch's injury is not that bad, mate. But yeah, at least we haven't got a midweek game this week. The guys can recharge, and let's keep going, mate. Let's take one game at a time, and let us dream, let us believe. Row it in. Let's go. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Yes, indeed, dear listeners, the Rowett train rumbles on. All stops to who knows where. Joining me is our ticket master himself, Mr. Graham Payne. How are you, Graham?
Good evening, Nick. Yeah, I'm good.
In the aftermath of that excellent 2-1 win over West Bromwich Albion this afternoon, two decent wins in a few days, Graham. I mean, obviously the win over Watford was one thing midweek. Two tough opponents, Watford and now West Bromwich Albion, in their different ways. Different game very much to the midweek showing, but another strong Millwall performance today. How did you see it?
Totally. If you'd have said at the start of the week with these two games, no, I don't think anyone expected that. We've put on two really good Millwall performances.
Absolutely.
The switch to four at the back it
was transformed the season, Graham, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
It's still. I was talking to a fellow as I was coming out of the stadium tonight. He was talking about, how Rowett can't go back to the 5 at the back system, which I think he still kind of hankers after a little bit. But since the switch, there are other factors like bringing in Jules Long in goal, which is a bit of an unheralded team change, but that combined with the format defence and just a general more attacking mentality. I mean, for large periods of today, I felt that the game was. West Bromwich were packing their defence and packing their midfield, and we were trying to find a way through. We created chances, which is something we weren't doing really. I mean, maybe you could say we should have taken one or two of them more, but the form at the moment. I mean, it's football. It turns on a sixpence, mate. Not long ago, we were talking about getting a taxi for Mr. Rowett.
Well, that's right. You go back to that and the Blackpool home game. It was shocking today.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like a proper Millwall. Even and I'll say one thing about they've got this tactic now where they kick off long and then he thumps it up. And Jake Cooper's in the penalty.
I'm going to tell you what it is. When Gary Rowett first came to us, he went through a little phase of being really quite innovative in the way that Jake was getting forwards. He was turning up in unexpected positions. I mean, at the moment, as you've just said, that kind of every dead ball now, Jake's getting forward. So's Hutchinson in the first half, Cresswell in the second, and we're looking to. We're almost not apologising for making use of the assets that we've got, because we've got some big defenders and they're strong boys, and they stood up well today, I thought, to a West Brom side that came to mix it a little bit at the Den, for better or for worse from their point of view. But we stood up well to them. I mean, we didn't give them an inch across the whole 90 minutes there, Graham.
No, I mean, if you look at the 90 minutes, Nick, I can't remember, I might be wrong, but I can't remember Jules Long having to make, in all honesty, I can't recall in the whole game.
No, picking the ball out of the net from that deflected shot is about his only real action that he had. Defensively, really solid. I mean, again, the turnaround is really quite breathtaking, Graham, because it's not long. I mean, you and I have spoken a few times, the chaps on the shows, how defensively frail we've been looking. But suddenly it's like, pieces are falling in, round pegs in the round hole. Suddenly everything's starting to look. Everyone knows what they're doing. It's a really it's a great atmosphere this afternoon. It's a proper Millwall game.
Of course, we can't not mention the pantomime villain of the afternoon, which was I don't even call him Jed anymore now, Graham. I just call him Wallace. So I'm going to refer to him as his surname only, Wallace. Very strange performance, I felt, from a player that would have expected to have got some Millwall treatment, but he really played up to it. I mean, the celebration when he put the assist in for the first goal, I thought was totally unnecessary. I don't know how you saw it. I just thought it was just over the top, making I don't know what kind of point he was trying to make there.
Online during the week, the 90 minutes of abuse at the end, you know, to do that, he was so over the top. The old Graham was just thought, what did you know what Millwall's like, do that? I mean, some people saying, would he be able to come back now as he's finished playing after that? I don't know. Maybe
I think he's burned his bridges. I mean, I know there was a bit of a pause at the end. He pointedly didn't go too near the east stand, and he made a show of applauding the boys over there. And then obviously the cold blow, he didn't go down that end. Clapped him kind of from the centre circle with a general drift towards the tunnel. Then there was applause back because of his contribution to the club. I found it very, very strange. I mean, I don't entirely hold in with this idea that there's it's a business football ground, and everyone's got to understand that money changes hands in the game. So I don't entirely buy the idea that you kiss the shirt and you're there for life. But he was very well thought of at the Den, and I always believed that the feeling was mutual. So I don't get why, when you put the assist in, you're going to try and win the game. I don't begrudge him that, actually, because that's what he's employed for. So he's put the assist in, it's been put away, and you got a goal. Standard procedures, you don't celebrate with your old. I mean, some might say that's all a bit twee and laughable, but many players have not celebrated in front of their own fans. But to give it the fist pump in front of a cold blow lane end, we all know what can happen. We all, one or two hotheads can lose their rag over that kind of thing, and that's where situations happen. I don't get it. I actually don't understand what he was trying to do there. Left a very sour taste for me, because the game became quite personalised after that, in a way that it wasn't entirely when it began. I thought it was fairly neutral towards him. One or two comments in the warm up I heard where they were warming up over near the block one where I sit. But once that happened, Graham, it became quite. I think it became quite intense at times. It became, that kind of Den tinderbox feeling at one point, I felt.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think his actions, the crowd bang on. So it was like the real hostile action of them for the big games.
Yeah.
Up until then, a few boos and that, but it wasn't.
I thought the players too. I think, I said I did the live comment that I do, and I was really struck, like properly struck, by how much Billy Mitchell wanted it. I thought he was man of our match today. Oh. And some of the tackles he was putting in, I thought you've got to be a bit careful, Billy, because you're going to get carried away here, But he really wanted it. And I think when you looked at the players' reaction when the second goal went in late, Tyler Bury's goal, it meant something. And I that's what you want to see. That's why we go to football. That's why we follow Millwall. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Hats off. Hats off to that team today, because they went behind, deflected shot, as you said, in the first half. Nice equaliser from Callum Stiles. I thought, it's going to be a bit of an unheralded player, really, Callum Stiles, but I thought he put away the equaliser. He had a bit of time on the ball inside the 6-yard box, but put that away quite nicely. Second half, I thought it needed something to change it, because I thought there were long periods of the second half, the early part, Graham, where we were trying to break down the massed ranks of red shirts, and we weren't really doing anything. But Tyler Bury's introduction and his willingness to run with the ball really started to change things, I felt. Incidentally, I think I mentioned it earlier on, but I'll mention it again. For a disallowed goal, there was a beautiful pass from Zian Fleming. What a player that boy is. Like an overhead flick into the path of Tyler Bury, who put it away brilliantly. for a disallowed goal. It was a thing of beauty. I mean, it's one of the best goals I've seen. In terms of imagination and willingness to do the unexpected. Fantastic. Disallowed. I thought, oh, there goes our chance. But I think there was a moment where Tom Bradshaw, I think it was Cresswell, put a cross in from the right side, and Bradshaw put it just wide. And I thought maybe that was offside or some offence, but it actually was a chance. I think it was just earlier on from that.
Cresswell and the referee said play on, and he put the cross in.
Yeah.
And
Bradshaw put it wide. But to show the steel, I mean, at the introduction, obviously, of Mason Bennett brought a bit of physicality to a game that was already physical enough. And I think in the end, I think Gary Rowett got it right in his post-match press conference, saying how we wore down West Brom. We did wear them down. Showing resilience and to press on. It really meant something. And when Tyler got that winner, you could just see it across the whole, or around the stadium, but also the team. It's one of those Millwall moments, Graham, where you feel everything comes together, and that's the magic moment, because that's when we can make use of that weapon that is Zampa Road.
I think everyone, and I'm not going to a very quiet game, and maybe that's because for a lot of the time he said the right was Vogelsang, in the game, but I'm not going to dig him out. But Styles was on the right and reason, and then they switched him. No, I think everyone. I mean,
it was a great atmosphere this afternoon. I mean, Richard Corley, I'm just reading some of the post-match comments there. Richard Corley talked about the noise levels at the Den. 15,000 crowd today, Graham. It was a decent turnout today.
Yeah.
Underlying, as he says here, underlining exactly why home fans can be a factor. It was a bear pit. And it was a bear pit. It was a proper Millwall match. Really refreshing. I enjoyed it. It was good to be back in that kind of blood and thunder atmosphere, mate. It's what we've missed, I think, for a long while.
Yeah, we've not had one of them.
Up to 5th in the table now, so who knows where this season is going to go. Just 4 points off of the top slot with Crew PR. Great day. Onwards, I think the next game is it Huddersfield away? I think the next fixture for the Lions. Yeah. So onwards to the, it's not called the Gal Farm Stadium. It used to be called the Gal Farm Stadium. I think it's... I can't remember its name now. Anyway, Huddersfield away next Saturday, so on for that. Graham, I want to say thank you for joining the show tonight. We've had a bit of a trouble getting through to each other tonight, but we've done it in the end, mate. So thank you for your patience.
No problem, Nick. Anytime, mate.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge thank you to Graham Payne there for joining the show. A bit of a dodgy line now there with Graham, so big thank you anyway. Wanted to pick up on a few post-match comments. Already mentioned Richard Corley reporting that Gary Rowett in his post-match press conference spoke well of the Mill side wearing down West Brom. He says, I'd be proud if we'd drawn this game because of the resilience to play with the same energy as we did against Watford midweek. I think that's something that I picked up on earlier on, the fact that we played so well on Wednesday night. This is Saturday. Brought a lot to the table on Wednesday night against the Hornets, and to go out today and show that kind of spine against a difficult West Brom side, physical West Brom side, not particularly likeable West Brom side, I thought showed real bottle by Millwall. Jack Clark posting on Twitter says, "Get in capital letters," says Jack. What a win, with about 4 or 5 ends. Incredible determination to keep going for that winner. Agree with that, Jack, 100%. All the way through to the 90th minute. Scott Malone was immense, says Jack. Bennett and Bury made such a difference. They did. Good substitutions. 4 wins on the trot now, 5th in the league. What a club, says Jack Clark. I think that's true. And I take my hat off, because we've been slagging Gary Rowett at times in the past about his inability to change games. Lack of nous when it comes to substitutions. And today's subs, both Mason and Tyler, brought 2 different strands, 2 different colours to the palette, the artist's palette. And that was the turning point, really, because we were starting to get a little bit bogged down against a tough massed midfield and defence. And, you couldn't exclude the possibility that West Brom would break out and nick a second goal. But we contained that and we pressed on. And I just want to say well done Gary Rowett, because it's too easy just to slag and to slate. You've got to take your hat off and praise when it's due, and it is due at the moment. Jake Sanders says Millwall are currently on the longest winning run in English football's top 4 divisions, along with Arsenal. We are keeping some high company in our stats at the moment, aren't we, listeners? Richard Corey mentioned already, noise levels at the Den today underline exactly why home fans can be a factor. It was a bear pit. Good atmosphere. I enjoyed it. I had all those kids sat next to me. But put that to one side. I really enjoyed it's like being back at the Den in the old days. You know, what the reason why you go there is for afternoons like that. Red raw meat thrown to the dogs. A good pantomime villain in Wallace. I shan't call him Jed anymore. Strange behaviour by him, as I said. I think to Graham, I found it low rent on Jed's part. No need for the celebration. By all means, show your skill. By all means, put an assist in, and by all means, hope you work towards being on the winning side. No one's going to begrudge you that. But the fist pump and the showing off and the I don't know what you'd call it, the whole game face business that the players do, no need. Embarrassment, I felt. And finally, one last one. Kevin Fuller, shout out to Kevin, man of the match. Billy Mitchell, I've mentioned already, says he thought Billy was a class act today. Special mention to Mason Bennett, who showed his real quality to set up the goal. I just hope that Sean Hutchinson's injury, half-time injury, is not that bad as the back four. We're looking really solid. Indeed, Kevin. Great performance. Millwall now sits in 5th in the table with a trip to Huddersfield next Saturday. Who knows what potential this season? I mean, it's opened up so suddenly, so wonderfully. And, you know, season was looking quite dreary. We were looking downwards. We weren't, enjoying our football. Last 2 games at the Den, I don't know about you listeners, I for one have enjoyed both those wins immensely. Just one last close. I just want to mention the pundit game. We're doing a link up with it's a board game, like a Trivial Pursuit game for football. It's called Pundit. 10% discount is available at checkout. With Christmas coming, use the code LIONS in capital letters at LIONS. The Pundit game, it's a great game. Trivial Pursuit for football. punditgames.co.uk. You can get your order and you get a 10% discount, and every sale will put £10 into the Lions Food Hub's coffers at a difficult time of the year for many families. So you can enjoy yourself, good game, some tough questions, and also benefit a great, fantastic charity. I just wanted to mention that before I close. There we are. Great day to be a Millwall fan today. Thank you for listening, dear listeners. Thank you to Graham, all of the boys with the voicemails, and thank you to you two, dear listeners, for joining me on the show. Until the next edition, arrivederci Millwall, and bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.